Hey guys, it's KJ with Board Life Coaching. Once again with another segment of NCAA individuals former athletes who have triumphed over various situations and created a huge imprint for future athletes as well as future former athletes. So today I'm talking with Samarie Walker. Samarie Walker is, she's a phenom, of course. Well, she wouldn't be on my show if she wasn't a phenom, right?
Thank you.
So I want to tell you a little about Samarie before we start the interview. So Samarie actually, she's a basketball player, and when she played in high school, right around 10th grade, Samarie was thinking, "There's no more, right? I'm out." Right. But then she actually went to a training camp with the University of Connecticut, and the coach there told her, let me see if I can find the words. Here we go. Oh, wait. The coach there told her, "You are one of the best offensive rebounders on the team." And Samarie said, "And that is what I'm going to focus on." She had a little bit of hesitancy with this whole process because she had just suffered a knee injury, a new coach, and a whole lot of different other things going on with, and tell me the name of your high school because I don't want to say it the wrong way.
Chaminade Julian.
Chaminade Julian, a Catholic high school in Dayton, Ohio. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes.
In Dayton, Ohio. So during that, so after she decided, I'm all in, I'm going. And once again, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, the name of this segment is Clarity and Mental Health, right? Yeah. So now she has a clear picture. She's moving forward, and she said, "I'm all in." So let me tell you a little bit about what she did when she was all in. So her senior year, she received, she was a two-time All-American. She was a two-time All-American. She was a three-time All-District All-Star. She was an ESPN top 10 player. And listen to what ESPN said about her on the girls basketball profile. It said, "Power and grace. She plays with power and grace, smooth and almost seems effortless." Nice, right? Nice. So with all this going on, guess who was looking at her? University of Georgia, Maryland, Duke, Rutgers, and University of Connecticut.
Yes.
November 13th, smiling through tears, she signed with the University of Connecticut, and she said, "A dream come true since 4th grade." She was looking at the University of Connecticut. Yeah. And her motto or her words of inspiration for young athletes was work hard and follow your heart. So after she got to University of Connecticut, she was there for a year, and then she actually wound up transferring to the University of Kentucky, and she blew up, guys. Listen to this. At the University of Connecticut, she was all SEC second team. She was SEC all defensive team by the league coaches, and she was 4th overall in the SEC her senior year. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, no, thank you. I can't look. I keep making up. Then my nose might grow.
You right.
You know the Pinocchio story, right? My nose might grow. Right. So anyway. When she was at University of Kentucky, she also won her team won Southeastern Conference. She was top 10 on the University of Kentucky's career list for double doubles. NCAA all regional tournament team. Oh Lord, I can't read my handwriting. Honors.
I do it too.
Team honors. Okay. Then after that, she went overseas. She played in the international league. She played in Sweden. She played in Lithuania, and basically, while she was there, she won the all Swedish Damelager .com Forward of the Year, best forward in the league, and 1 of 5 first team honors. So as you can see, I am talking to a powerhouse. Powerhouse in the house.
Stop it.
I love your humbleness. So I want to talk to you a little bit about just your road, your triumph. And once again, we're really looking at clarity and mental health. And the goal is to have nuggets or insight in this interview that will help young athletes as they're going through the process, what you've gone through, and when they graduate from college, how do you find yourself, the weight to figure out where you're going next, and what your true reality is. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. So post-college, let me tell you this. This is post-college. I was going to get everything in. So post-college, she has a clothing line called Creative Kings, K Creative. Kings with an S.
Yes.
She also has a podcast, which has been going on, I think, for 3 years now. Am I correct?
Going on 3 years, yes.
Oh, girl, you old. You might as well sit down now.
You feel me? Like, dang, I'm
Put your feet up. Put your feet up.
You feel me? You feel me?
So she's been doing this for 3 years. It's called Speak Your Truth, and it actually talks to athletes about mental health. And then the third thing that she's doing, and she's on fire. She's been doing it for a little while. She's been doing it since she was playing overseas. Is she has a training program for young athletes. So it's called Samarie's Top Notch. So if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about that, now you already know she's a leader. You already know she's a winner. So if you're looking for that type of training, that type of expertise for your young athlete, she will share her information at the end of the interview. Absolutely. So now, yeah, Samarie, you might have to cut me off a little bit or work with me a little bit because I think Whitmore's talking, so I can go, girl. I can go. I got like that basketball endurance. That's basketball, all right.
Oh man, I got you. I ain't gonna cut you off, Miss Kelly. I'm gonna let you talk.
You gonna let me talk? All right, cool. So I wanted to talk to you about the beginning. Fourth grade. We know in fourth grade you wanted to go to U of Con. Where did the love or interest of basketball begin?
My dad, I was born in Illinois. We moved to Chicago. So not too many people know, but enough people know my parents sold drugs. So that's why we moved to Chicago from Danville, Illinois. And my dad was fairly big time. We would, ride around during the nighttime. In the morning time, he'd go to the park, during the day, whatever. And he would always take me with him to the park. He would come home from doing his thing, and he would come get me and go to the park all the time. And I can still remember sometimes going with him. And my mom said that, when she would come with us, they would sit me in my car seat just so I could, kick my feet out, have fun, be in the sun. But I would somehow take my little seat buckle off and run out on the court before anybody could catch me. And I would stop the whole game, be like, Dad, give me the ball, give me ball, give me ball. And finally, somebody would give me the ball, pick me up, and let me go ahead and shoot it. And that was just like, everybody knew if Samarie was coming, Samarie gonna stop the game or just don't even start the game until Samarie get her shots up. So it started from there. He bought me a tight rim. And then when we moved to Ohio, it became more serious. This became like, I would say almost his scapegoat as well. Because when we moved here, he vowed to not ever do that again. And so He put all his time, energy, and effort to me and to my mother, to his marriage, and to just making a better life for us. And this is how we ended up doing it. Like I said, we still go to the parks every day here, same thing, all day, every day. I would be there with him. Sometimes he didn't want to take me because he knew I would want to play instead of just sitting there and watch, but he was a great dad and always took me with him.
Wow. Was there ever a time when it became competitive between you and your dad?
From day one, I don't like to lose. I always have boy cousins. I have a brother now, he's only 15, but to this day, I'm 28. To this day, I'm competitive with him. Like I tell him, you cannot beat me. He's like 6'6", 6'7", 250. I tell him, you still can't beat me. I don't care. So anybody, I'm so competitive. Uno, I will fight somebody about Uno. That's how competitive I am.
Well, my daughter, we all have our games. My daughter was Uno, my son Jay was Jenga, and mine was Spades.
Oh, see.
Spades. Now so my son Jay is autistic, and so when he would play the game, like he would pull out a piece, and my daughter and I'd be like, "Oh, it's getting ready to fall. It's getting ready to fall." He would pull it out, and look the other way, Samarie, put it back up again. We're like. But he has this gift. I don't know what it is, but he could just pull it out, and we just knew that the thing was going to shake and topple over. Never put it right up on top. Now, if he didn't want to play anymore, he would make it fall on purpose. Like,
he had to create the game Jenga in his past life or something, because I don't know anybody that can do that. Nobody.
You need to see if I get a chance one day. I want to see if I can tape him playing it, because like it is amazing how good he is, and it's amazing too how much those family bonding moments impact future endeavors. Because sometimes, like when Jay was like not at a standstill, we pull out the Jenga, and he played the Jenga, and then he was ready to learn.
Absolutely.
And then I could teach him. But before the Jenga, before doing what he wanted to do, we had that impasse. So we had our own little language of communicating back and forth.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
You and your dad, you're playing basketball, you're loving basketball, you're competitive. in 10th grade, I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah. So like you said, in 4th grade, I had this dream of going to UConn. I met Tamika Williams Jeter, who is also from Dayton, went to Chaminade Julian, met her at a park randomly one day, the same park me and my dad played at. And that's how I got the confidence to go. All the time from then on, it was just so much pressure. The fun was being sucked out of it. My dad was always screaming at me. My mom got into it. Like she knows nothing about basketball still, but she knew that I was good and that I could go somewhere. She saw the other parents going crazy. So it was just a constant, like everybody always negative all the time. So by the time I got to 9th, 10th grade, and especially once I started getting recruited by the top D1 schools, I started to question, one, do I want to go anywhere to play? And am I even good enough? So my confidence was so sucked out of me. I could score 20 points, 30 points, 5 points. I was getting cussed out just the same way because I could always do better. So I just had it in me that I sucked. So by that time, it wasn't just that I had got a knee injury. I did something to my forearm really weird. So at that point, I'm like scared to get hurt because I don't like pain. And then on top of that, I have my mental health going on. I'm also gay. So I'm dealing with that, like struggling to come out. And there was a lot of different things going on.
Wait. When did you come out?
When I was
did you realize you get?
So I knew in 4th grade, I had a crush on this girl named Rachel Stites in 4th grade. I still remember her name and everything. And I knew then that I was different. My dad even knew that I was gay because I remember one time we were at a park and these girls drove by honking the horn. And I'm like, ooh, Dad, I'm telling Mom, these girls trying to talk to you and flirt with you. And he was like, and they honking the horn at you. So I kind of looked at him in my head. I'm like, how does he know that I like girls? But I never said anything. Never said anything. And I came out at 16, and that was a whole shitstorm, excuse my language, mainly with my mother. We didn't speak for 2-3 weeks. We were in the same household. She didn't say nothing to me at all for 2 or 3 weeks. And my dad was a lot more nurturing. His thing was he didn't have to worry about me getting pregnant or, being distracted by boys or whatever. So it was more of a joke to him almost until he realized it wasn't a phase, that this was like a lifestyle for me. Because he's a Christian, his mom is a pastor, has her own church and everything. So he really struggled with it from that standpoint, but he accepted me just the same as he would anybody else. So, but yeah, that took a toll on me as well because I didn't have the support that I needed at that time, especially from my mother. So it was really difficult trying to even think about basketball at that time when I have all this other stuff going on.
So you have all these things going on. Mm-hmm. Are you telling anybody that you're hurting? Are you telling anybody that you're concerned? Are you telling anybody about the pain and the?
I tried to tell well, she's a woman now, but the girl I was dating at the time in high school, she was a grade older than me. And we were best friends before we even started dating. And I would try to tell her, but she was also suffering and didn't know that she was suffering because she went through her own traumatic experiences. And sometimes I think that's kind of why we got so close, because we could kind of sense it in each other. But she would just, the same as almost anybody else, try to be there, pat me on the back, it's going to be okay. We would have our long, deep talks, but it was nothing. I still didn't feel like I was getting what I needed or even saying what I really wanted or needed to say. That's always been the thing.
But you think she heard you?
Definitely, because even like now we speak every now and then because we're from the same town, grew up together, went to the same high school, everything. And when we do speak, we'll sometimes talk about our high school or about our high school experiences. Like, hey, do you remember when we were going through this? And, it's amazing how we got through all this, blah, 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 blah.
Wait a second. I just thought about something. You went to a Catholic high school.
And we were out. So it was tough. That was another reason why it was tough because, as kids, you're kind of like, well, that's my friend. There's nothing different about her. This is just her sexuality. It was more so the parents, once the kids told their parents and the parents got in their kids' heads and the kids would treat us a little differently, but not for long because it's whatever. It is what it is. But the way that our teachers treated us, our coaches had a whole separate meeting with us and our parents, and it just felt like we were being discriminated against and segregated from everyone else. But like you said, it's a Catholic high school. So as an adult, I understand that for sure. I understand it, but also being me, it's like, y'all just need to get over it because I am who I am. And there are so many people like me within the Catholic Church. And I'll just leave it at that.
Right. Yeah. Please leave it. I'm just saying, I went to Catholic school, and I know how conservative it was. And I will tell you something that, like I said, I wasn't most talkative, and I was kind of smart. No, I was smart. So they were going to skip me a grade. I was at East Orange school, East Orange, New Jersey, and they were going to skip me a grade. So what my parents did was they put me in Catholic school so that I wouldn't skip third grade, right? And so when they were going to take me second to fourth. And so what happened was when I went to third grade in Catholic school, like, I don't think they were ready for me and how much I taught.
Yep.
Because, it is more conservative. So look, I know about the paddle, and I know about that stuff in Catholic school. That's why I'm saying, if they got upset about me talking, you bringing up something that's challenging, I'm just like, whoa. So people may have heard you, but they didn't hear the depth of what you were talking about.
Exactly. And then you have to also think, at that time, I was Samarie Walker to everybody, not just Samarie. So Samarie Walker can't be sad. She can't have a bad day. She can't get a bad grade. She can't have an attitude. So I always had to put up this facade like I was okay, and I wasn't, because nobody thinks that the type of person who is capable of achieving that type of success is capable of not being okay or achieving any success or anything like that. So that's the other thing. I think I wouldn't necessarily call it an identity issue, but just struggling with admitting that I'm not okay, because I'm great at this, but this also causes me to not feel good.
And then, God, you're so unappreciative. Like, think of how many people would want to be in your shoes. How dare you sit back and complain?
Man.
Right?
You feel me? Yes.
You are just so unappreciative.
I'm this horrible person because, oh, you know how many times I heard that from my own mother. And I think that's what, and I love my mom. Me and my mom are close, me and my dad are close. I love them to death, but that's where it really stems from, is them telling me I'm unappreciative, or I'm not grateful for this, or I have an attitude, or I'm so negative. No, Samarie is tired. Samarie is becoming a woman. Samarie's hips are spreading. Samarie's on her period. Samarie, again, is a Black gay girl who can't say that and it also be okay. So where is the issue? I don't get it. I can't ever be in pain. I can't cry. I can't have emotion. Like, I couldn't do anything. So I became this robot. And then again, just being a Black woman in America, we cannot have any emotion. We have to be like this all the time. We can't be mad, can't be sad, we can't be happy. We can't be nothing. So to not know that, you feel me? You feel me? So it's like, I'm about to say, I'm real, like, I'm me now. Nobody can stop me from being me at this point. But to live a life and not believe that I could be me for so, like, I could just be me for so long. I had to choose between being Black or being gay or being a woman. I couldn't just be all three. I couldn't be happy and free spirited. I can't be loud. Like, why can't I? Why can't I be feminine just because I get my hair cut? I'm thicker than Megan Thee Stallion, so I am going to show that off. I love my body. I love who I am. But I know that I am more masculine. I'm very strong. I have a very athletic build. I'm 6'1". I got tattoos. I like to get my hair cut, but I'm still a woman. So, but people can't accept that because they have to put me in a box. They have to put me where they want me to fit at. But that's not how it works. So I have been struggling with that my whole life. That's why I'm saying that. I've been struggling with that since day one, really. Just trying to be every part of me,
instead of every part of what everybody else wants you to be.
Exactly. When I watched your interview yesterday, I wanted to tell you, like, I relate to that because that's a lot of my unhappiness stemmed from that too, was doing what everyone else wanted me to do. What does this person want me to do? What did this person say I should do? Even, I would say, until I started going to therapy 2 or 3 years ago, my therapist just stopped me talking one day and she was like, Samarie, do you not know you don't need permission to do what you want to do anymore? And it baffled me. I just stopped. I was like, what? I ain't gotta ask nobody, can I do this and this? And so now, you can, like I said, you can't really tell me nothing no more. Nothing.
You know, I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I'm not gonna talk about that, but I used to be a domestic violence awareness speaker. Now I've written a book. If you want to find out, they can read the book. But one of the things that I used to do that used to blow people away is, in domestic violence, there's 8 layers or 8 different ways that an abuser controls their victim. right? And so what I did was I used to do this segment where I would actually put on 8 different coats, right?
Wow.
As I labeled the layer, I would put on the coat. And what my audience would see is me going from standing upright to actually hunched over, because there's no way you can walk around with all that weight and be upright.
Exactly.
And so what I explained to them is that the person that you see is not what they're feeling on the inside, right? Mm-hmm. Because the coats represent what's going on the inside, not what's going on the outside.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and so for them, sometimes it's not so much that you need an advocate, you need an interpreter.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? Because you worked overseas. So there's a difference between somebody who's saying, "Go, Samarie, I got you." Yep. And there's difference between somebody who says, "Look, Samarie, I understand what you're going through, right? I understand what they want. Let me use this language to actually show them what you want." Because in foreign languages, there are different words. One word, a word here can have 3 or 4 different levels. Do you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? I know what I'm trying to say, but there are varying degrees of words that you may use to express an emotion.
Exactly. Yeah, we have too many words over here. Way too many.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
I only use 3, so it doesn't make a difference. No, I'm just kidding. But the thing is, if you can get an interpreter, somebody who really understands the depth of what you're going through, then they can either convey it to somebody else or they can help you can convey it. Because when you're walking around, like I said, with all those coats on, you can't really and truly convey what you're thinking. You can't really convey the pain. All you're thinking is, I want the coats off.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? Like I'm tired. I'm hot. It's Thank God I used deodorant because I'm smelling okay, but I didn't.
Yeah, for real.
A rough day.
For real.
But you're thinking like that. So this is all going on. This is high school.
Yes.
Go to UConn, right? You're thinking, I'm away from all that stuff at the high school. I don't have to deal with any of this stuff. People are going to understand me. I'm at the top basketball school. I'm a top person. I won McDonald's. I was in McDonald's All-Star. On and popping. I'm ready. You get to campus, what happens?
So I really wasn't thinking none of that. I was thinking,
that was just me.
Crap. Yep. That's what you think. You see.
He said, you're gonna be a C athlete because you don't know how to act.
Exactly. Don't play it. I would say, yeah, some people really don't know how to act, but no, for me, you would think that's exactly everything I should have been thinking and experiencing. You are totally correct. I should have been, but it was, oh crap, I made the wrong decision. I'm not good enough. I'm not prepared. Are my teammates gonna like me? Is anybody else gonna like me? The classes, how do I get everywhere? Am I gonna wake up on time? All these different, like just little worries, and also the big ones. Exactly, layers. Exactly. So it starts really, really small and goes all the way up. And it was never really a thing of homesickness. Like I said, my brother, we have a 13-year age difference. So he was, I think, 4 when I left for school. So still very young. So yeah, of course I missed him. I had never left home before like that. So it was difficult, but it was more so I had checked out of basketball a long sophomore year. I had checked out of basketball.
4 months.
Yeah. So it was like, how can I tap back into that, 9th grade me, even the 10th grade me who still wanted to play, but just lost the passion, continued to lose the passion as time went on. And it never happened. It got so bad to where like my coaches had to have one-on-one workouts with me because I was airballing layups. I don't know how you airball a layup, but wide open, we just doing drills. And I'm like barely getting the ball up to the rim because mentally it's stopping my body. I couldn't perform. I couldn't walk. I could barely speak without stuttering. Like I was just always so nervous. The weight of the world on my shoulders, but I was traumatized from my parents heckling at me. When blogs and stuff first became a thing, I remember they made a whole blog on our newspaper blog about me and how I sucked. I was in 5th grade, Miss Kelly, in 5th grade. I was a bad basketball player. I wasn't going to make it. I was this, and I was in 5th grade. And my dad had told me, don't read it, don't look at it. But of course, what did I do when everybody was asleep? I would go sneak on there and go read it. And so I started to internalize all this stuff and became obsessed with it. Just like you can become obsessed with positivity, you can become obsessed with negativity. And so from then on, I just absorbed all the negative things that people had to say about me, whether it was basketball related or not. And like, we can almost call it a sickness to an extent. And that's what I carried with me up until recently, letting all of that go, and the negative self-image that I have of myself. And when I got there, yeah, it was horrible, because I look back and I said, if I had have stayed, my basketball career would have been much different. I would probably still be playing in the WNBA or overseas. I have no doubt about that. But like you said, at 28, I've done so much already. At that time, that's when I wanted to kick my feet up. I needed a break. So UK, even though UK was very hard, it was still D1. It wasn't just basketball for the players, because we didn't have a lot of McDonald's All-Americans and #1 recruits back then at UK. It was just a bunch of kids coming together who wanted to play basketball and have fun, and that's what we did. So that was a much better, much realer experience for me, much better experience, where UConn, it's like, it's your sport and that's it. I'm not gonna go too much into detail, but it was really just about basketball. Nobody ever asked me, was I okay? It was just, why aren't you doing this? So it made me feel like something was wrong with me. Not that it was like my mental health. Like, yeah, that was wrong, but it's not a bad wrong. They made me feel like I don't know, I was just this horrible, bad person that couldn't do anything right.
And maybe that was one of those instances with the advocate versus the interpreter, because, you know, people can say, you know, Samarie, you got this, you got this, you got this, but they may not understand the depth of your pain. But there was somebody who did. There was an advocate who spoke up for you, who said, it's a wrap. She's not going to do it. She's going to Kentucky. Who's that person that stood up for you?
Really, it was me. But
it was you?
Who do you think it is?
I read about somebody named Sam.
My dad?
Yeah. I read in an article where he basically told them that you were homesick. You were not going to, you were going to transfer to another university, because there was a lot of, a lot of banter about what was going on and how you wound up transferring. But his interview was very to the point. Like, she's transferring. She's not going to be at U of Con. Yep. And we're going to support her, and she's going to be 2 hours away from home. He did say that you had an opportunity to go to Dayton and several other universities locally, so he did not force you to go to any school in particular, but this school, University of Connecticut, was better for you because it was closer to home.
So, quick story, I wanted to go to Southern California because I want to study fashion design, so I got my clothing line. My dad wanted me to go to UK. He wanted me to go to UD. I said UD was way too close to home. I'm not doing it. The best that I could do, UD is University of Dayton. So that's like literally 7 minutes from my house. Wasn't going to do it. So I said, okay, I'll bargain with you, and I'll go to the University of Cincinnati because they have a fashion design program. Gino wouldn't let me transfer anywhere in the Big East. He could have, I don't know how that works, but I could have. He just didn't let me. And so that was fine. Cool. So I said, okay, Dad, I'm going to call the coach at USC. Texas A&M was the first school to call, but I wanted to go to Southern California. I was going to live in LA. He brought my brother into the conversation, suckered me in, and that's how I got to UK. But I always will say that I believe that God uses different people as guardian angels. And at that time, he was using my father as one, because there's no telling what would have happened if I went to LA at the time when my mental health just wasn't where it needed to be. So I could have quit basketball and just started partying. We never know. So I always say that everything worked out how it was supposed to.
Wow. So so you're saying these schools called, there was only like a 2-day gap. Like it
was fast. As soon as UConn like released that I was available, Texas A&M called within the first hour. So I don't even think it was that long. And then it was just like boom, boom, boom. Everybody else started to come right after that. And then once I had the conversation with my dad, I called Amber Smith, who was already at the University of Kentucky, who was one of my closest friends. And I asked her, like, can you please ask your coaches? I need you to do this very, very fast. I hit her up on Facebook. I'm transferring. I need you to ask them, are there any roster spots available? If so, I will be there tomorrow. But like, we got to get this done ASAP. And that's literally how it happened. That's literally how it happened.
Wow.
Yes.
So nothing like Friends, nothing like, you know, all the other kind of stuff that's going on. Your dad advocating for you. And like I said, you may not know what he was squashing in the media, but that kind of stuff does help somebody who really and truly has your back.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say is there's a few people I know he did a couple. I just saw like maybe not even a whole year ago that Tamika Williams did one. And I didn't know that other people were speaking on my behalf because I wasn't allowed to speak to the media. UConn didn't let me talk to anybody as I was leaving, and UK didn't let me speak to anybody as I was coming. So I have never had the chance to tell my story yet. Still to this day have not told my side of the story yet.
But you know, Samarie, I think that could have also helped you in a way, because if you had spoken up, it could have impacted you being recruited internationally and all the rest, you know, and just kind of kept things focused on the game, because everything comes around in time.
Exactly.
You know? There's a particular time for everything.
For
so
sure.
Now you're at University of Kentucky. You got your support team. You're doing well there. Are you thinking about the WNBA? Are you thinking about?
Yes and no. Yes, because I knew that's what other people wanted for me. No, because at that time, like, I'm literally just trying to stay alive and keep going to class, keep going to practice. Because again, what I think unless you've actually experienced this, not wanting to do something and then having to do it every single day, especially something like basketball, D1 basketball, where I have to wake up. Basically, my schedule is just basketball. It don't matter. From the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, it's basketball, class, study hall, repeat, eat when you can, if you can eat. And there were more things on my mind than just that, especially because, like I said, I checked out from doing that. I just knew, I think Coach Pillow said it yesterday, like basketball was a tool. If I didn't play basketball, how the heck was I going to get a degree? Because my family can't pay for it. And I've never worked a job a day in my life. So I know I'm not going to pay for it. I might as well just keep hooping until I don't have to hoop anymore. But UK was a much better environment for me to be able to survive at that time, because that's what I was trying to do. And then sometimes I wish I could go back for the young version of me and do it all over again, you know, healthy, mentally and emotionally healthy, so that I can give her the chance that she deserved. Because there's no way. I tell people all the time, like, I'm better, and I will tell anybody to their face, I'm better than any female basketball player out there. I just never gave myself the chance to be better than them or to show that I was better than them because of that, because of my mental health. So transferring from UConn to UK, the greatest thing that could have happened was that I really, really blew up. Like, I was averaging 20 and 10 and leading my team to tournaments and things like that. Even winning one, hopefully, because I think we had a team that could have went very far, but there were so many other things on my mind that had nothing to do with basketball, honestly. Unfortunately.
And you might think you're the best because you haven't played me yet, but once you play me.
Look, I'm telling you, you can put you in front of me, Michael Jordan in his prime, and LeBron in his prime, all at the same time. I'm taking y'all 1-on-3. That's how confident I am. I don't care.
All I want to do is play horse.
And I'ma still beat you. I'll play with my left hand. I'm right-handed. I'll play with my left hand.
All right,
on my knee.
Don't make me bring a box of tissues. Girl, I can't shoot. I'm that person that shoots 20 times. And when the 20th one goes in, I'm like, that's the one you need to film. So I'm not going to fake it.
You gotta wait another 20 times.
I'll give you this one. But I'll make a big sign for you, cheering you on.
Well, I appreciate that.
Did you ever feel like people heard your pain? Like, did you ever feel like, well, I'm talking about University of Kentucky. Did you ever feel like people were starting to hear it?
I think that Coach Mitchell, I think everybody saw it. Nobody heard it because I didn't say it. So everybody saw it. Coach Mitchell, Coach Pillow, Coach Elsie, everybody had different conversations with me. Miss Tiffany, our academic advisor, had different conversations with me. But because even I didn't know what the real issue was at the time, nobody knew what was wrong with me. Everybody thought that I was just having bad days and I didn't want to be there. I was lazy. I was just negative, whatever the case was. But I think the biggest sign that something was affecting my mental health was my first 2 years of college. I had a 3.8 my freshman year, 3.6 my sophomore year. My junior year, I went down to a 2 point something. So that just doesn't happen, especially when someone shows consistent success at something. You just don't drop. So that's, I think, when Coach Mitchell finally reached out to me and said, hey, I want you to go see a therapist. But being Black, you don't go see a therapist. You don't go talk to somebody about your problems. If you do, you are either soft, weak, or you're crazy. So I didn't want to be labeled as any of those things. So my immediate response was, no, I'm not going to. What do I need to go see a therapist for? Why do you think that I'm crazy or that something is wrong with me? And that's when I talked to Coach Pillow, and she explained to me, like, that's not what therapy is. So I was a little more willing to go. But I think there were more conversations held amongst coaches and players together or even separately about me and my mental health and their word with me. Because I even had teammates that several years later said, like, yeah, we knew something was wrong, but we just didn't want to say anything. Yeah, we saw that you were da-da-da-da, but we just didn't want to say nothing. Why the heck not? Like, but the crazy thing is, and the sad thing is, that even if I did say it, what would anybody have done? Because I have since then said that I struggled with suicidality, that I've wanted to, multiple times in my life, or that I've, just been very, very deeply depressed. And still, nobody's going to reach out until I actually do it. And I'm not going to do it. Let me say that. Not going to do it. But I know that that is what happens. Nobody shows their empathy until it actually happens. And that's why I chose to stay alive, because nobody who didn't show me empathy when I was alive is going to show it to me when I'm dead and not able to speak for myself. And I want to get people to realize that, like, when you see somebody going through something, the best thing you can do is acknowledge that you see them. Yeah. And you don't have to say anything. You don't have to ask me anything. Just, hey, I don't know what it is that you are going through, but I see you. What can I do anything for you? But like I said, when I told some of my closest friends, family members, it was just they pushed me away. How can Samarie be going through this? Why are you going through this? My grandma would tell me, don't say that. Don't, like, why not say my experience? Why can't I say what I'm going through? So
because the depth of it is too much for people. Like, they can handle up here. And my thing is, with domestic violence, I'm like, okay, if this is all you can handle up here, that's good. All I want you to do is have the 1-800 number for domestic violence. If you have that number, be up here, stay up here, don't move, but make sure that you get them to somebody else. And you can be on the phone with them, right? Exactly. Like, I can call with you so that we're both listening to the domestic violence counselor, right? Exactly. And keep in mind, it's anonymous, but the bottom line is get them to someone who can listen. And the thing is, like, if I don't know how deep you were willing to go with because you were talking to your families and stuff like that. But another thing that I always tell people is, if you're going to help, because a lot of people, there are people who do want to help, right? If you're going to help, don't try to ask every single question about what happened in 19 years and have them give you 15 minutes. Because you can't put 19 years into 15 minutes, because if somebody is really truly going through a traumatic experience, they remember little bits and pieces, like little speckles, like sparkles, right? So because they're remembering speckles and sparkles, it's not going to sound coherent. It's going to sound like all this kind of stuff. So you cannot put 5, 10, 15 years of heavy weight, fourth grade to sophomore year, junior year in college. You can't put that heavy weight into 15-minute conversation and have somebody understand who's not a licensed clinician.
Exactly. Right? Yes. Right? Yes.
I've been doing this thing called Clubhouse, right? I'm a life coach. And I've been doing this thing called Clubhouse. And I was listening to this guy. He's a 9-figure guy. And what he was saying is, he said he has 7 life coaches. I was like, 7? And what he said was, a life coach can get him to wherever he needs to be 4 times quicker. So rather than sitting there and working on things, hammering his head over and over and over again and trying to go to this friend and this friend and this friend who don't understand the situation, he can go to that particular person. But he has, I don't know, I guess he has a different, maybe like a financial one and a diet one and all this other kind of stuff. But the thing is, guess what? If he's going to a life coach, then it's not, there's no clinical record of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's no clinical record of it, but there's only so much a life coach can do. Once you get to a certain point, you really and truly have to go to a therapist. But the thing is, not only sometimes do we miss the mark as African Americans as to therapy, but we miss the mark on the spectrum. Do you know what I mean? because there's different therapists, there's different coaches, there's different psychiatrists, psychologists, there's a whole different realm. Yes. And I think that if we start to show people the umbrella, then what they can do is they can start to look and say, hey, you know what? This is the person I want to interpret for me. You know what I mean? This is the person who understands what I'm going through, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then they can more clearly convey what I'm talking about. And so with that in mind, like you said, your sophomore year, your junior in college, sorry, your junior in college, you finally found someone that understood or starting to understand?
I would say started to. The coaches, I think, recognized it. And Coach Mitchell sent me to a therapist. And I was apprehensive at first. Once I got there, I tried talking to her, but it was almost like talking to a librarian or my teacher. She was a little old white lady. I love white people, nothing against white people, but she cannot understand me. So when I fast forward to when I got my therapist in Chicago, like you said, when finding that person who can interpret for you, I won't ever have another therapist unless it's her. Like I cannot see anybody else except for her. Because she got me. She really understood me. And it wasn't that she sat there and talked me through it. She made me talk my own self through it. But just having her there and her empathizing with me when I would be open. I don't cry in front of, I cry more now after that experience with her, but I didn't used to cry in front of people. Since then, like I cry in front of anybody because she made me just so comfortable. But yeah, junior year, I would say my senior year, the girl I dated, I think that she was probably one of the best people for me at that time because she was the only person who told me that I didn't have to play basketball. She's like, if that's something that you don't want to do anymore, like you are capable of doing anything that you want to do, why keep making yourself suffer for a sport that you don't want to play anymore? And I told her because I didn't, what else was I going to do? Like, I don't know what else to do. But yeah, that's probably the only person I think in college that I felt like had really heard and understood me up until now.
Do you find that that's commonplace, like what you're talking about with regards to mental health? Do you think that there are a lot of athletes who experience it that we don't see, that we don't know about? Or
definitely, because we are humans too. There's nothing that makes us any different except what we are talented in. Look at millionaires and billionaires. They commit suicide every single day. So clearly it's not what you have and what you can do that makes you happier, makes you feel whole and complete. It's about who you are, who you have around you, what you choose to believe in, your perception of things. But yeah, every day you have people who come from, I lived in Chicago for a little bit. A lot of athletes come from Chicago. I heard gunshots almost every day. I can't imagine growing up in that. Throughout my whole life, walking through gangs or getting beat up. On my podcast, I've had people who have experienced sexual abuse. One of my teammates, former teammates, she had cancer, had to get her uterus removed. So now she can't have kids and we're the same age. Things like that. And people don't think about stuff like that. Everybody experiences death in some way, family members, their children. There is life going on in our lives just because you don't see it. There's still things going on that we don't know about, or that other people don't know, I should say.
So are they experiencing these post-college or during college?
I think athletes go through this their entire lives because we are always people, we aren't always athletes. So as in, if you want to keep it specific to college athletes, I think that in college, you experience a whole new world of things that can affect your mental health. So for me personally, I left home. So I'm at this, go from this little bitty town, this big, where you got apartment buildings, a couple houses, 2 streets, and you got the trailer parks. That's how big my town is. To, the campus, it has all these people. A campus probably bigger than my town. You have to worry about how you look, how you eat, how you sleep, how you perform on the court, on the field, whatever. In the classroom, you have your social life, you have significant others, your family, whatever the case might be. And then also, I think for both males and females, but specifically female athletes, there's body image issues. So at UConn, I don't know how Stephanie survived, but more power to her. Our associate head coach at the time, Chris Daly, called us fat almost every single day. I was not. And I don't think Stephanie was fat either. Stephanie is a tall, big girl, but she's not fat. And I was nowhere near it, but called us fat every single day almost, just to thinking that was going to motivate. That's not going to motivate me. Like, now I feel like crap. I don't want to do this. Why do I want to even be around you and you are humiliating me, not just to my face, but in front of my teammates, the coaches, the other staff. So all sorts of things go on every day. The stuff that went on at Michigan State and with the USA gymnastics team, you know, things like that. And as women, we are so scared to say anything. The same thing happened at Penn State with male athletes. And it's embarrassing already, but to be an athlete and have certain things happen to you, and you're supposed to be this macho, you know, hero to everybody. How can I be weak? How can I ever say that something is wrong when everybody expects me to always be so strong and okay? So I think every day, athletes from all ages, high school, middle school on up, they experience things on a daily. I'm coaching 7th grade girls basketball right now. And as soon as I had mentioned how I know that their parents are hard on them and yell at them and stuff, everybody's eyes got big and, you know, they were so focused. Like, I know what they are going through at home. So
you should look at, if you get a chance, you should see the interview I did with Mark Knapp where he talks about middle school. And it's really interesting to me because I love middle school kids. I substitute taught for 3 years just to do some field work to get a feel for what the kids were thinking. And the suicidal ideation is very, very high in middle school. And I read a little while ago that for athletes, it was an NCAA article, for athletes, anxiety starts right around age what? What do you think? This blew me away when I read the age.
I want to say between ages 8 and 11. I'm a pick 11 though.
Age 6.
Age 6.
Age 6. Now, how can anxiety start around age 6? Like, I just don't get it. What are you, Pee-wee?
For real? What are you even playing at that age?
What's the deal? I mean, you're playing with Tonka trucks and stuff like that. Like, I don't get it.
I played at the rec league, but that was fun. Or it should be.
I will try to find the article and put it in here because I like to always back up what I'm saying. But yeah, it was age 6. So the pressure that you face here, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I heard that when you go over in Europe or when you play overseas, like, you're a celebrity, like, you're walking down the street, you probably got like paparazzi and everything.
Dang near, man. Dang near. It was beautiful. It was real nice. It was nice. In Lithuania, it was because myself and the other American, we're both Black. There are not Black people in Lithuania. So people would literally stop their cars in traffic. And she told me this before I came. I did not believe her. They will stop their cars in traffic just to watch us, like we some damn gazelles or giraffes walking down the street. And then they would keep going and we keep going. But it was also the coolest thing in the world, to have people be fascinated with you because you are so different and because you're American. In Spain, they love to touch my hair. I had a big afro and they love to touch my hair. And one of my coaches said, "You feel like a sheep. You feel like a sheep." And I was like, "What are you trying to say to me?" He was like, "Your hair feels like sheep hair." And I was like, "Oh my God." In Australia, they asked, do we all carry guns? Because they know how big gun violence is here. I just had somebody else tell me that recently, that overseas they will ask you, do you all have guns? Do you just walk down the street and people get shot? Like, what is it like? And yeah, it's a very great experience though. In Sweden was the most beautiful place I've ever been. The people are amazing. That's why it's the most beautiful place I've ever been. The people were just very, very kind. But yeah, they love, autographs, want to take pictures. They just treat you. They treated us like we treat male athletes here. So that's another reason why it was so beautiful. And I had a better experience overseas than I did, I think, my entire career.
Wow. You're like, I don't ever want to go back. I ain't going back.
I ain't want to come home. I did not want to come home. The only reason I wanted to come home was because my little brother. If they had to send him over there, we would have been good. That and some of my chips, and I would have been good. Would have been just fine.
Wow. So for someone challenging, for someone who's being challenged with a lot of just a lot of high hopes or a lot of expectations and wondering where they fit in and they're finding their purpose, what words of advice would you provide? Play overseas? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm about to say, yeah, go. Hey, I joke about this all the time. I should have went overseas when I was like 15. I should have quit high school and went straight over there. But I would definitely, what I started doing now, and I wish I would have done earlier, somebody would have told me to do, is ask myself daily, who am I? Who do I want to be? What does that look like? Start getting that image in your head. And once it's in your head, work towards being that person every single day, no matter who disagrees or agrees, no matter if you don't feel like it that day, because it's hard to change. But who is it that you want to be? What do you want to do? And what does that look like to you, not to anybody else, for you?
I love it. I love it. That's what I try to encourage people to look at too.
Yes.
The one other thing that I ask is often is, what is your purpose?
Yes, I love that question. Most people don't know the answer to that question though.
Yeah, and I think that's where some of the angst comes in, because your purpose, your ultimate purpose stays the same, but your avenue to that purpose can shift.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so when people are so used to being in one lane in that shift, they have a hard time uncovering that, their ultimate purpose still stays the same. You just have a different pathway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I struggled with that also. I was going to once I stopped playing basketball, I did a bunch of different stuff. I worked in cell phones. I worked at grocery stores. I've done a whole bunch of jobs, package handling at UPS and FedEx, and doing my clothing line, my podcast. But I had a really hard time believing that I could succeed at anything else, just like I did basketball, even better, because like you said, it's so hard to find that new thing and also get comfortable in it, especially knowing that other people are judging you and watching your every move. So, what is Samarie doing now? Why is she doing that? She's not doing why is she doing her clothing line no more? Did it fail? Did this fail? So it's really hard to keep pushing at all these, different things when you know that not only you have to have the confidence to go in a new direction, but these other people are watching you do this and have something to say at your every move and turn. That was always my biggest issue, was worrying about what other people had to say or think.
Yeah. So do you have a cheerleader that keeps you going?
Me, myself, and I. God, I got my wife, I'm married. My little brother is definitely my motivation. I don't really tell him this, but he is the only reason I am alive today. There was one time in high school where I was this close. I was about to do it, about to go ahead and take my life. And he just, I don't know how the timing was so perfect. He burst into the room with so much just light and excitement and joy, because he wanted to show me something he had just made. And that's when I knew that I had to be here, but I hadn't accepted it yet, because there were still more times after that where I had thought about it. But that is my reason for breath every single day, knowing that somebody is watching me and cheering me on, like you said, not just watching me to be watching, that he is watching what I do because he wants his big sister to succeed, and because he looks up to me. So if it wasn't for him, and definitely I would say my wife, these past couple years, I don't really know where I would be today. I have no idea. Can't even lie. But these last couple years have been the worst, the absolute worst. But we better now, much better.
Mari, I want to ask you something. If you say no, I understand completely. Do you feel comfortable talking about that day or that time when you almost did?
Yeah, I might shed a tear, but yeah, I got you. I was really young. So my first suicidal thoughts ever came at 7. So when you talk about anxiety at 6, I always ask myself, how the heck did I know that I wanted to take my own life at 7? So I went in my mom's medicine cabinet. This was at 7, took some aspirin out, grabbed me some water, and I was going to take all the aspirin and do it. So I don't know, though, where I saw that, how I knew to do that, how I did it, that was going to kill me. I don't know anything. Why I even wanted to do it. Then that day, I had to already be 16. I had come out already, was going through all those different experiences with that, and dealing with basketball. Did I still want to play? If I play, do I want to go to UConn? If I don't go to UConn, what is everybody going to say? Because I'm the #1 player in America. I should go there, blah, blah, blah. I have my parents, constantly on me, never really ever supportive and giving me that the nurturing that I need at that time as a 16-year-old girl.
And how long was this going on? The UConn, the parents, everything? Like, was it a week, a month, a year, a day?
I would say with my parents, this was like, oh my God, third grade all the way through until I probably graduated high school. They weren't as bad in college, but definitely during my grade school years I know for a fact third grade because I can still remember this conversation in the car with my dad, and he was going off. And I was playing against boys in third grade. And there was already a guy who was like 6 foot tall. He already, he's from this town called Valley View where they don't eat nothing but corn and potatoes. So he was already a big dude. And, my dad was mad because I didn't score more. And I'm like, in the back seat, even then I knew this man was a little crazy. I was like, how is my little butt supposed to go up against this big old white boy? What am I supposed to do? And
potatoes? I said,
you feel me feeding while I'm playing him, like feeding him with one hand, crossing with the other. So it was just like, everything was just so unrealistic and impossible. And that was from third grade through high school. As far as UConn, that was, I would say, on the day, yeah.
No, I'm sorry, the day that you were contemplating, the day that your brother walked in, from third grade to, what was that, 10th grade?
That was probably my junior year, 11th grade.
11th grade. So we're talking 8 years. Okay. The reason why I'm asking you this is because, and I don't mean to interrupt your story.
That's okay.
The reason why I'm asking you this is because I think the thing that a lot of people miss, and you heard in my story, that I've worked with people who have attempted and committed. The thing that a lot of people miss is it doesn't happen one night. It's not like one night, I can't take it anymore. I'm giving up. People are calling out. People are like, I'm in pain. Listen to me. I'm doing this. Listen to me. Pay attention. And because they don't know how to communicate it anymore, it goes beyond the verbal communication to physical communication of the pain that they're in. So you were carrying this weight for 8 years, not 8 days. You didn't wimp out because somebody said that you couldn't shoot a basket. You had 8 years of building, of escalation where you just couldn't get it out. And that's like that kettle on the pot, the steaming. I don't know. You're young. Do people know about the kettle, the pot?
I still say it. I'm about to say I got an old soul myself, so I still say it. But you are totally right, and I carried it for another 8 to 10 years after that. But I agree. I told my dad, I told both my parents after one of my basketball games, I scored 16 points. I remember all this stuff because they're very significant moments in my life.
What grade is this?
This was my junior year again. So came back from a game. We had just got home. My brother's in the car, everything. We had just lost this to our rival Alter. We were playing at UD Arena. And we didn't lose by that much, still played good, whatever. So as we're leaving, me and my girlfriend, we hug, say bye. So our parents both pissed because we lost and then pissed because of that. So as soon as we get in the car, my mom starts cussing me out, going off. Dad doing the same thing, telling me that I can't play good because I got a girlfriend, all this BS. Whole time, my brother is only like 2, I think at the time, 2 or 3. Get back to the house and I was like, this is why I want to kill myself. I'm just going to kill myself. And my dad says back, why don't you just go ahead and do it then? What are you waiting for? And that's when, like, I would say my life.
I don't matter. I don't have purpose. Well, I mean, why not? Nobody's
exactly. So everything for me there, like mentally, emotionally, just ended. I just cut it off. Why am I gonna feel anything when my own parents don't feel anything for me? So, I mean, from that point on, I treated people so horrifically, but it was a defense mechanism. It wasn't because I wanted to. I just didn't want you to get close to me because I don't want you to hurt me. I know you don't see me. You don't see my pain. You don't see what I'm going through. You don't understand it. You don't want me to go through it. But your response to that isn't right. So I didn't want to be close to anybody. I didn't want to be nice to nobody. But still, I found it in me to do it somehow, some way. But I would still, especially the women I dated, I would treat them so bad. And I still, to this day, I'm married. And still, I tell my wife, like, man, I feel bad that I did this person like this and this person because I was hurt. Not because I wanted to, like, I was hurt so bad. And nobody really knows that stuff. I don't talk about it. But that's why I try to be so nice to people, especially young kids, because you don't know what somebody's going through. at home. You don't know what people are suffering through. We had like Chad Balls, which is totally different, but he was going through cancer. I don't know her real name, but Andell from the Parker, she's also on Friday. Like, they were sick and still performing their jobs, and none of us knew until they passed. Like, you just never know what people are going through at all, ever. So I try to treat now, today, that I know this and can respect it and accept it no matter how anybody treats me. I try to treat people with as much respect and kindness as I can, because I know that that person is suffering through something, even though it ain't got nothing to do with me. They are treating me like this because they are going through it bad. So why am I gonna go be a dickhead to them right back? For what? They already going through it, and I'm trying not to go through it. So why put that negative energy back out there? Like, no, just be nice to people, man. You don't know what's going on in their lives.
So I'm sorry. I'm gonna take you back.
It's okay.
So you're contemplating it.
Mm-hmm.
Contemplating it. What happens next? Like, I want to hear like the day. Like, how did you plan it out? What are you thinking?
It was really late at night. I remember it being dark, so it had to be like past 6 or 7 at night. So he comes in there and like we're just hugging. I start crying, and he's a very emotional boy. I love it. And so he started crying. He doesn't know why I'm crying, but he's crying because his sister's crying, and we just had this moment. And from then on, even though he was only 2, we just had this really close bond. And he still doesn't really know why, but I know why. And from then on, it was just, I mean, I didn't think about it as much then, I think, until I got to UConn. I thought that was my only way of escaping basketball or UConn, was to either commit suicide or just to go do something completely different on my own. Not play basketball at all anymore, but how was I going to do that? But the thoughts, I think they became more persistent once I left UConn, got to UK, and just it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until I went to, not even when I went to therapy, it kept getting worse then. It just started to
even with the therapist, it got worse?
Because like she started, like you said, taking me through it all again, and I started to feel it. And not even that, I started to get angry at everybody, like really just mad. Like, I didn't want to be around anybody. And I, again, like if you are my family, you're my mom, my dad, if I block you on my phone, I can't erase you from being my family still. Like, you're still my family. So I just wanted to be as disconnected as I could be, and the best way to do that is to just be dead. How else? What's the other best way? And at that time, like, everything was so dark. That's the only option I saw, was for me to disconnect. I have to not be here anymore. That's how dark it was.
And so, when did you start to see light?
When I realized that my mental health was taking a toll on my wife's mental health. So she has her own traumas and experiences that, you know, that she went through, is still working through, but she was always the happiest person. And I could just see it in her eyes. Like, it was paining her, not necessarily to deal with me, but to see me in pain and feeling like she couldn't do anything about it. Because she's talked me through some things many a times. And once I saw her mental health and even her physical health depleting because I couldn't give to her what she needed, I was like, okay, like, there is somebody else affected by this, not just me. Like, I have to do something about it. My brother, seeing, like, I live maybe 20 minutes from him now, and I wasn't going to see him. I wasn't talking to him, nothing, just like in the room by myself all the time. And when I would see him, he was so happy, like, just like it was Christmas, just like he hadn't seen his sister in forever. And I was like, man, like, I have to do something. Why do I not want to be around people, connect with people? Why don't I want to be happy? And then, I just had to find something to do to just change. And I think that is how basketball training got in the picture, coaching, everything. I have pushed it away for so long. I wanted to do it. But people always tell me, like, why you have the experience, why not do it? And working with kids and seeing kids experiencing their joy, there's nothing better for me than that, to give them back what I missed all those years. The other thing that helped me a lot was when I was living in Chicago. I had moved back to Chicago to go to grad school a couple of years ago, and to pay for rent, I was walking dogs, this service called WAG, and that changed my life. I mean, man, first of all, just being outside, because I was staying in the house all the time, just going outside and then being around dogs. Like, I didn't used to like dogs, but they brought so much joy into my life because they don't have nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about. They just, living life, man. And being able to spend my time just walking dogs, getting to see the city, meeting different people, taking a bus and the train. I got to talk to so many different people. That was probably the turning point, I think. And then moving back home and seeing my wife's health deplete, that's what really, really, really got me on the right path.
And talking to people with no expectations of you.
Exactly. They don't know who I am, have no idea who I am. They just want to, they want to be heard. They just wanted to share their story with somebody. So that helped a lot too, becoming more selfless and learning to listen to other people and hear their stories. And that's what helped me even create the podcast was, okay, I'm not the only person suffering through this. And it's also not just athletes, like there are everyday people who are going through this. Especially being able to live in Chicago as an adult and seeing addiction, seeing homelessness, poverty, seeing homeless children. That was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen in my life. So I told myself I literally cannot complain anymore because I don't have any excuses aside from I need to get my mental health together. So it's been very, very hard, but I just listed a million reasons. So I got plenty more reasons to stay alive than I do to take my own life.
Yes. So what is your goal with the podcast? What would you ultimately like to see happen?
Hey, I'm trying to be on TV. I want to be like Oprah and Ellen. So I want to be able to,
we can do a show together, right?
For real. You got a lot of you. You can definitely, yes, you can be my co-host. I would love it. I would love it. For real, I want to interview like all the top people. So Cardi B to LeBron to Serena, Beyonce, like entertainers, star athletes. And I also want to do former athletes, especially ones who like myself, who were really, 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 really good. And then they just fell off. And it's not that we just fell off. There's a reason for it. So why? So a wide range of people. But yeah, I would love to be on TV if I could travel to do it, even interview people in their homes and stuff like that for it to be more comfortable for them. I would love to do that. But the main point is to raise awareness around mental health, specifically in the Black and sports communities.
Right. And the depth of it. Not that it's a light thing. There's layers to it that need to be addressed.
Exactly. Yes.
And so what I found when I was teaching is that kids were not ready to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I struggled with, is that, they, you can go in and you can teach the best lesson. And I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I taught my two sons with autism. I taught my daughter began college at UNC Chapel at age 14. Like, I know I can teach. I know I can break it down, whatever it is. With that, when I face kids who are not ready to learn, it's hard to get them. You might teach the lesson, but what they retain is like this. So the next day, you're starting at this, whereas everybody else is like this. So, so my thing was with creating these videos is, how do we give people hope and inspiration? Because we're all facing impasses, like you said, but how do we give them hope and inspiration so that when they go to learn, or when they go to do, or when they go to be, they'll be ready? Because there's opportunities all around us, but we don't seize them, or we don't take advantage of them, or we don't maximize them. As you said, you weren't ready in school because we're not ready.
Exactly.
So listen, Samarie, you are tops on the course. I thank you so much for your transparency. You're like almost as funny as me. I don't know, you a little more. You might get there. You might get there.
I got work to do.
You got hope, like Jesse. Like, just keep hope alive and keep it alive. You got potential. So, so I thank you so much for everything. For, like I said, once again, your transparency and sharing, and your expertise and what you've given to us through basketball. What I wanted to do was I wanted to close with one, if there's anything else that you wanted to share that we didn't share today during this conversation, that's number one. But then number two, you've got some major things going on. Like I said, you've got Creative Kings, if somebody wants to buy your clothes, right? I saw the gold crown, right?
Yes. That's pretty dope. Yeah. So, I gotta send you something. You gotta tell me what you like so I can send you something special.
Red.
Anything red, I got you.
Red.
I should have noticed that. You're right. I got you.
So thank you. So your contact information, how can people find out more about, let's start off with that first. How can people find out more about Creative Kings? What if they want to see your product line? What if they want to buy something? What do they do?
So right now I took a break from that because I got really burnt out, was doing too much too fast, was still playing overseas, was doing it all by myself. So now at this point, I'm looking for either investors or just be patient with me because it's really not that much, but finances ain't all that available right now. But yeah, just either be patient or ask me if you can invest. Two things. But I'm on Instagram at samarie.walker, Samarie. And yeah, my podcast, I have a link to that on the Instagram site, so you can go directly to that. And for training, same thing. I have my email up, so if anybody needs a trainer, I do virtual, I do in person, anything. So just let me know. Very versatile, very versatile.
Okay. And so we've got the training, we've got the Creative King, but we don't have the way that I found you. And I listened to a couple of videos, right? What? Your truth. Yes, girl, you know I listen. I'm nosy.
Yes. Yeah, there's a link on my Instagram at samarie.walker. There's a link to the podcast. And we've had several different people, a couple of WNBA players, former and current NFL players, NBA skill development coach, MLB mental skills coach, former male overseas basketball players, so a bunch of different people on there.
Right. And I love the candor. I love the conversations.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to be humorous. I want to make people, it's a very heavy topic. So when people listen, I don't want them to be crying the whole time. I want to take them on a roller coaster of emotions because that's what life is. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the couple that I heard were point on. And so I'm very proud of you and all that you're doing. You're one powerful chick. So is there anything else that you wanted to say that I may have forgotten to say?
Believe in yourself, love yourself, and spend time with yourself. There's nobody that's gonna love you like you or know you like you. Spend time outside with nature. I am big on, God is my source and he created all of this out here for me. So I love to look at the stars, at the sky. And I'm telling you, if you just look up once a day, just one time at the night sky, day sky, I don't care which sky, just look up. And that's going to give you all the hope that you need to continue on when you need it.
All right. Amen, preacher.
Thank you. Hey, I'm thinking about opening my own church. I don't know if they're going to let me, but yeah, I have definitely thought about, because I love to teach. Since a kid, I would, pretend like I was preaching. I ain't gonna do it for you now, but I got a good preacher voice. But I love to share the word in many different ways, especially to people like me, because as a gay person, period, sometimes we feel like we're excluded. Bless you. We feel like we're excluded out of the word, or that any sinful nature. But for some reason, gay is like top sin. So I would really love to have a safe space for everyone, not only the LGBTQ plus community, but for everyone who feels like they cannot worship how they would like to worship or as comfortably as they would like to. So I feel like God put that on me for a reason.
Now, people join the church based on the ending, right? So you got to have one or two endings. You got to sing a song or you got to hoop. Which one are you bringing? Are you bringing both?
You know what? I can't tell you all that right now. I gotta put it in my business plan. But we definitely gonna end with a song. I'm gonna say that. And I love to eat, so I might have a little buffet in there if everybody want to eat. Chill afterward. Yeah.
You can sing it. You can rap it. You gotta make sure you bring it home.
Oh, I ain't singing. I gotta find somebody to do that. Okay. I'm not.
All right, you can hum it. You can hum it and let them sing it. And had an old ladies go back to church, throw the wigs off.
Lord have mercy. Not the wigs.
Throw the wigs off.
No, they better get that good installation at my church.
We will have the buffet dinner, and we will also have a bonding service for your wigs.
For real.
The bonding, just we got the service in the buffet after the service. You so silly.
We got the beauty salon in the back just in case the wigs come off. Need somebody to adjust it for you. We got it all. We good. Got the makeup lady just in case your Line running, we got you. We good.
Listen, Samarie, thank you so much for everything. Much success with everything. You are phenomenal, and I thank you once again for your contributions. We will be in touch.
Thank you. Absolutely. Right. Thank you so much, Miss Kelly. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.